When your cat flinches away from you, do you actually know what they're trying to say? Most people assume it's just a mood. Cats are moody, that's the thing everyone says. But behind that small pull away, that quiet retreat to the other side of the room, there's something most owners never stop to consider. It might not be about mood at all. According to animal behaviorists, some of your most normal, everyday habits are quietly hurting your cat. Not dramatically, not all at once, but slowly, in ways that compound over weeks and months until the damage is done. The scary part is this: most of them feel completely harmless. Some of them even feel like love, and if you keep doing them, which almost every cat owner does, you could be slowly breaking your cat's trust, their health, and their sense of safety in the one place that's supposed to feel safe. Their home. Here are 6 everyday things that hurt your cat way more than you think. Raising your voice when they mess up. Have you ever caught your cat knocking something off the counter and immediately yelled their name? Be honest. Most of us have done it. It feels like the right response. Natural even. They did something wrong, you reacted. That's how it works with kids. That's how it works with dogs. So it should work with cats, right? Here's what's actually happening inside your cat's brain when you raise your voice. Cats don't process cause and effect the way we do. A 2021 study from the Journal of Veterinary Behavior found that cats who were regularly yelled at showed significantly higher levels of chronic stress and were more likely to develop behavioral problems like hiding, unprovoked aggression, and litter box avoidance. They're not learning I shouldn't do that. They're learning this person is unpredictable and unsafe. That's the part that should stop you cold, because you're not trying to hurt them, you're just reacting. But your cat doesn't understand your intention. All they register is the volume, the tone, and the shift in energy. And over time, that doesn't correct behavior. It quietly dismantles the bond between you two. Think about it this way. If every time you walked into a room, someone you trusted randomly screamed at you, how long before you stopped wanting to be around them? How long before you started flinching when they moved too fast? That's exactly what's happening for your cat. And if that's hard to hear, keep going. Because the last point on this list is the one most owners never see coming, and it involves something almost every cat owner does out of love: letting their predator brain go completely dormant. When was the last time your cat actually chased something? Not stared at a shadow from across the room. Actually chased, pounced, caught. Most indoor cats go days, sometimes weeks, without a single real hunting experience. And we don't question it because they look fine. They're eating, they're sleeping, they seem low maintenance. But they are not fine. Cats are hardwired predators. Their entire neurological system is built around one sequence: stalk, chase, pounce, catch, kill, eat. That's not optional wiring. That's the foundation of how their brain functions. When that cycle never gets activated, something starts breaking down on the inside. A study published in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery found that cats without regular play stimulation showed increased rates of obesity, aggression, overgrooming, and depression-like symptoms. That cat who just sleeps all day and seems completely unbothered, there's a real chance they haven't given up on the world because they're content. They've given up because no one ever gave them a reason to try. They're not lazy, they're mentally starving, and the fix takes 15 minutes. That's it. 15 minutes a day of interactive play with a single toy that mimics real prey movement. Something that darts, hides, changes direction unpredictably. That's all it takes to reactivate what's been sitting dormant inside them. You'll start seeing a version of your cat you didn't know existed. And by the way, if your cat ever gets obsessively fixated on a specific spot in the house, like they're waiting for something, don't brush it off. We'll come back to what that kind of behavior is really telling you. And it matters more than most people realize. Treating dry kibble like a complete diet. What if the food you've been giving your cat every single day is slowly dehydrating them from the inside out? That sounds extreme. But here's something most owners have never been told. Cats are desert animals. Their ancestors evolved to get nearly all of their hydration from the prey they consumed. That means your cat's natural drive to seek out and drink standing water is genuinely low. Their bodies were never designed to compensate for a dry diet. They're just not built for it. So when their entire diet is dry kibble, which contains roughly 10% moisture, They're living in a state of chronic low-level dehydration, and most owners never notice because it doesn't look like anything. There's no dramatic sign. The cat just quietly absorbs less water than their kidneys need day after day. A study from the Journal of the American Veterinary Medical Association found that cats on dry-only diets had significantly lower total water intake compared to cats eating wet food, even when fresh water was freely available. The instinct to drink just doesn't compensate the way we assume it will. Over time, that chronic dehydration puts serious, cumulative pressure on the kidneys and urinary tract. Kidney disease is the leading cause of death in older cats, and one of its most consistent contributing factors is lifelong inadequate hydration from an all-kibble diet. The prevention is not complicated. You don't have to eliminate kibble entirely. Even incorporating wet food a few times a week makes a measurable difference. You're giving their kidneys a genuine fighting chance by changing one meal. Now, before we keep going, if this is changing how you think about your cat's daily life, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat owners who actually want to understand what their cat needs. Petting them the way you'd pet a dog. Ever been petting your cat, everything going perfectly, and then out of nowhere they bite you? And you're sitting there completely confused, wondering what just happened. You probably hit the wrong spot. Most owners pet their cats the same way they'd pet a dog. Long strokes down the back, belly rubs, reaching for the tail area. With dogs, that tends to work well. But cats are wired in a fundamentally different way. Their skin contains a concentration of nerve endings that can shift from pleasant to overwhelmed in a matter of seconds. Behavioral researchers call this petting-induced overstimulation. And it's one of the most misunderstood dynamics in the entire cat-owner relationship. A study from the University of Lincoln found that cats showed the lowest stress responses when touched around the cheeks, the base of the ears, and under the chin. But when owners focused on the belly or the base of the tail, stress hormones spiked almost immediately. Here's the part that changes everything. That belly your cat shows you, it's not an invitation. It's a declaration of trust. It's one of the most vulnerable positions a cat can put themselves in because it exposes everything. And when you reach for it, you're not accepting that trust. You're breaking it. In that exact moment, without knowing it, that's why some cats seem inconsistent. One minute they're pressed against you, and the next they're 3 feet away washing their face like you don't exist. They were genuinely trying to enjoy the moment. You accidentally overwhelmed their nervous system. The fix is straightforward. Stay with the safe zones, slow, deliberate strokes around the head and cheeks. Let them lean in toward your hand rather than chasing them with it. The moment you notice their tail beginning to flick, their skin rippling, their ears shifting back, stop. That's not rejection. That's your cat saying they love you, and that's enough for right now. Respect that boundary and watch how much longer they choose to stay close, turning their bathroom into a trap. Where is your cat's litter box right now? Is it tucked into a basement corner, wedged behind the washing machine, stuffed into the back of a closet where you almost never have to think about it? If it is, you may be creating a situation where your cat dreads something they have to do multiple times a day. We hide litter boxes because we don't want to see them or smell them. That makes complete sense from a human perspective. But from your cat's perspective, you've placed their bathroom in the most psychologically threatening spot in the house. Cats are simultaneously predators and prey. That means every single time they use the litter box, they're in one of their most exposed, vulnerable positions. They need sightlines. They need the sense that they can see what's approaching and move away quickly if they need to. A box jammed into a tight, dark corner with one narrow entrance goes against every survival instinct still running in the background of their brain. Research in applied animal behavior science identified litter box placement and accessibility as among the top factors linked to elimination problems in cats. That means if your cat has been going outside the box, there is a real possibility it's not a behavior problem at all. It's a location problem. They're not being difficult. They're scared, and there's a second mistake that compounds this one. One cat, one box. That's not enough. Behaviorists recommend the N+1 rule. One box per cat plus one additional box, placed in different areas of the home. If you have 2 cats, you need 3 boxes. It gives them options, reduces territorial tension, and removes the anxiety of feeling trapped. Believing the myth that they're fine alone. Remember earlier when I said there's something almost every owner does out of love that might be doing the most damage? This is it. There is a story we tell ourselves about cats, that they're independent, self-sufficient, that they genuinely don't notice or care whether you walk through that door at the end of the day, that they're fine for 12 hours as long as there's food in the bowl. It is one of the most damaging myths in pet culture, and it is hurting millions of cats in silence right now. A 2020 study published in Current Biology found that cats form genuine attachment bonds with their owners, structurally similar to the bonds that dogs and human infants form with their primary caregivers. When researchers separated cats from their owners and then reunited them, the cats showed clear behavioral signs of either secure or insecure attachment, depending on the quality of the relationship they had developed. This is not sentiment, this is not anthropomorphism. This is measurable science. So when you leave for 10, 11, 12 hours a day and come home to a cat who seems completely unbothered, they may not be unbothered at all. Cats who experience prolonged, repeated isolation can develop anxiety, depression, over-grooming, appetite changes, and, again, litter box avoidance. They just suffer silently. Because that's what cats do. They don't bark, they don't destroy things, they don't leave obvious signs. They withdraw. And that silence tricks us into thinking everything is fine, when what's actually happening is that they've learned not to expect anything from the waiting. The truth is, your cat notices when you leave. They feel your absence more than they will ever show you. You don't need to be home every hour, but small things accumulate in the right direction too. Leave enrichment out before you go. Rotate toys so the environment feels alive. Create a window perch so they have something to watch. And when you come home, don't just walk past them and check your phone. Sit down. Be present. Give them 5 minutes of genuine, unhurried connection. Because to your cat, you are not just the person who fills the bowl. You are their entire world. So when you look at this list, all 6 of these things, notice what they have in common. None of them come from cruelty. Every single one of them comes from not knowing, from assumptions that felt reasonable, habits inherited from a culture that never took the time to understand what cats actually need. But you're watching this, which means you're not that owner anymore. Your cat isn't asking for perfection. They're asking for someone who notices, someone who slows down long enough to realize that the flinch means something, that the silent waiting by the door means something, that the belly offered in trust means something. That's not a small ask, and it's not a small thing to give. The 6 things on this list were never just habits. They were the spaces between you and your cat, where the bond either grows or quietly erodes. Now you know which direction to move.